Today on Can Haz Armory, how to make a grounding cord cable for electric box for a carpet strip, a metal strip, or even one that may have a receiving port for a pin. Okay, so when you are setting up a grounded strip, you have to ground it. And unless you're doing saber, don't care, in which case, why have a grounded strip? But if you're doing epi and foil, you definitely have to ground that strip so it hits to the floor and register. How you do that? There's a cable that goes from the box to the strip. But connecting to the strip can be done a number of different ways. You could have an alligator clip, like on a mass cord, that would go on a carpet strip. It could also get crunched under the edge of a metal strip, which you do at NACS a lot. There's a paper clip or similar type of clip for carpet strips again. You could also probably put that under a metal strip. You know, it depends if it can mix contact or not. There's also the wrap mesh. If you look at when we're setting up a NAC or tearing down a NAC, you'll see this copper mesh strip under the metal strips, and that's to maintain continuity between the panels as the panels shift as the event goes on, because they do. So that's we get strip calls. Why come out with the hammer? Or you could do, if you a few strips like this, like UC San Diego has a couple of these, there's actually a little block that the metal strip sits in as a 4mm hole for a body cord pin that sticks in there. I'd rather see that as drill and tap a hole for a receiving port from a FA socket than put the pin in there. But either way, so I'm going to make a body cord that's actually going to have not body cord, a grounding cord that's got actually 3 of the 4. I don't have any wrap mesh, but I have 3 of the 4 on there. Okay, so when you're grounding a strip, be it a carpet strip or a metal strip, you have to have, ideally want to have a clip that's going to match it properly. So typically for a carpet strip, you're usually going to use something like this. You have 4mm pin going into the box, and then you have an alligator clip, clips to the strip. These cables are about 10 feet long. They're meant to go down the strip a ways, so away from people shuffling feet when they're shuffling around the table. They do get smashed down. They do get stepped on and kicked on. This is what we typically see. There are other ways to do it, though. You could also use a big honking paper clip. The disadvantage of these is they can't get deformed to the point where they don't make contact. When they're brand new, they should be pretty good. There's also what's called a butterfly clip. It's a kind of a triangular version. I don't have one of those right now, but this is another way to go about with the carpet strip. Or, suggested to me by Tim Hively, a split ring. This is about 1.5 inch split ring. And it's soldered here, but the split's over here, so I have enough room to get it apart and get around the strip. So we're going to try that one out in Ontario. We also have the metal strips. Now, typically metal strips, you will see something, again, you might see these with the alligator shoved under the strip. They get really smashed down to the point where they can't open up. That's one way of making contact. How do you get them under the strip? With a mini crowbar. I put a link to this in the description. Hook this small under the side of the strip, crank it back, strip lifts up, that goes in, you're done. Aside from this, a couple other ways we're going to try. You also have a wrap mesh. This is actually this is not wrap mesh. This is actually a sink filter screen, but it does the same job. Again, it's soldered together here, and same thing. This should also work, but also one thing we're going to try is a large binder clip. Now this is a little different. This does open up wide enough, hopefully, to grab on the strip, and hopefully you'll grab on the strip and lay it a little flat. And then this piece here, I can just remove, so it won't be there to trip the fencer. We're going to just keep it with us. We're going to go back out to work on this. Put it back, and then we can open it and take it off. So I'm going to try all of these at Ontario, the regional. We'll see how they work out. There is one more version that I forgot, and that it works with the if you have a strip that has a 4mm receiving socket mounted into it. Simply have both ends be a 4mm pin. Boom, there you go. UC San Diego has a couple of these strips. Also, Joe Burns made a little aluminum piece that would fit under the strip that had a 4mm hole in it, and they used that. I saw one of those probably last year in an event, but they haven't been used for a while. But there's various ways you can connect the grounding cable to the strip to make sure the grounding works. And we will see how these work out at the Ontario event in August. Happy armoring.